The perfect match. It's what so many of us are looking for. When it comes to getting a mortgage, how can you find the one that's perfect for you? Start with your local independent mortgage broker. Because the only way to get a mortgage that's cheaper, faster, and easier is to talk to us first. Find your perfect mortgage match. Call us today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Michael Gates Mortgage Show. I am your host, Michael Gates, and today we're going to be talking about mortgage closing costs. Now, mortgage closing costs are costs that are going to be required to finalize your mortgage. So here at the Mortgage Show, basically what I try to do is try to educate potential homeowners or people who are thinking about buying a house, kind of educating them through that mortgage or that home buying process. I remember when I bought my first home and we were going through that buying process and we were going house to house to house. And it was kind of stressful. There was a lot of terminology that I didn't understand and I didn't really know. And then we're going house to house. I got this real estate agent working with me. She was fantastic. And we're going looking at these houses. And in the back of my mind, even though I'm excited through the process, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, she's putting a lot of effort in. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy this house. Because in my mind, I'm thinking about, I need 15% to 20% down. I need my credit score to be so high. I didn't know the process. So even though I had money saved up, I didn't think I had enough money. And even though my credit wasn't bad, I didn't think my credit was good enough because I didn't know the process and I wasn't educated enough in the process to know that I did qualify for a home. She knew that. I didn't know that. So So I'm riding around and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, man, she's going to be really disappointed when we go to try to buy this house and we can't get it. But she knew. She was a professional. She knew that we could buy a house. She knew that that my credit score wasn't enough. And she knew that I did have enough for the down payment for the home that I was trying to buy. So that's why it's very important to speak with a loan professional because they actually know some of the things that we don't know. And then this is also why I starting the mortgage show is because we can educate potential home buyers so that they don't go into the process without knowing or without when they get into the process, they can feel a little bit more comfortable and they can be more familiar with the terminology. So, and if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But we're going to go right into it. So first thing, what are closing costs? Now, when you go to buy a house, people will talk about down payment and closing costs. And they say it so much that people sometimes think that the down payment and closing costs are the same thing. They're actually two separate things. You have a down payment and then you have closing costs. So they're not the same. So your closing costs basically are fees that are paid to cover the costs required to finalize your mortgage when you're buying or refinancing a home. So when you're sitting down there's these fees that people are talking about for your closing that are going to be need for you to close. This is what they're talking about when they talk about closing costs. Now, most of the closing costs are paid by the buyer, but the seller typically will have a few to pay. Like the seller will have to pay like the real estate agent. So that's something to keep in mind when you're selling your home. I'm selling the home, so I'm going to have to pay some fees because I'm going to have to pay the real estate agent. And when you're buying a home, you are going to know that, hey, there's going to be, besides my down payment, there's going to be some fees involved that are going to be outside of that down payment. So when I keep saying fees and fees and fees, so how much are these closing costs that you're talking about? And typically what closing costs average between 3 to 6% of the purchase price of the property. So say that if you are buying a $300,000 house, you might pay between $9,000 and $18,000 in closing costs. So it's just going to kind of depend. Your closing costs are going to depend. It's going to depend on different factors. So it's going to be based off of the area that you're buying it in, the tax rate, how much that appraisal costs. If you're in a flood zone, those type of things are going to impact how much you're going to pay for your closing costs. So what does closing costs include? Just like I was saying just now. So your closing costs is basically going to include your appraisal, your escrow fees, your flood certification, your home inspection, your property tax, your annual assessments, your title, attorney fees, your loan interest fees, your loan origination fees, and your upfront mortgage insurance. So you say, well, what does all that mean? Why do I need all those fees? So your appraisal, this will be mandated by the lender to make sure that the home is worth the sale price. So most appraisals, they're going to be $300, $500, $600, maybe $600 for their service, but that's going to be mandated by the lender. Then you're going to have escrow fees, and escrow fees, you may pay portions of your property taxes and insurance into an escrow account. So this is your escrow fee. So these are property taxes and insurance that you're going to pay up front. Then you're going to have flood certification fees. If your house is situated on or near a flood plain, your lender may require documentation confirming the status. Home inspection, depending on the square footage and the type of inspection, the buyer pays for a home inspection to look for signs of damage and defects. Home inspections are a good idea when you're purchasing a home, so the homeowner is confident in the property that they're actually purchasing. So it can be a way for you to negotiate that fee when you get that home inspection. There may be some repairs that may need to be made, and you can negotiate that, and you can maybe split the dip after that home inspection. You may ask the potential or the home seller to split some of the costs of the repairs. Then you have annual assessments that may be involved. And if you're buying a development with the homeowners association that requires an annual fee, they may be due up front. So if you have a homeowners, you're buying into a neighborhood that has a homeowners association, they may want those fees up front, and then those fees will be collected when you close on the loan. And then you're going to have title and attorney fees. This includes necessary government filing fees, escrow fees, notary fees, other related fees to transferring the deed. The costs and the title and attorney fees varies depending on the state that you're in. And then you're going to have your lender fees. These cover items ranging from administration costs, pulling your credit, wire transfers, an application fee if that lender is charging an application fee. And if that lender does charge an application fee, you may want to ask if it's refundable and non-refundable. It may be a non-refundable. Application fees typically are non-refundable. And then there may be other things like prepaid interest, a loan origination. You may pay for discount points. Now, discount points are fees that pay directly to the lender by the buyer when you're purchasing the home, and they're paid at closing in exchange for a reduced interest rate. So if you're paying for discount fees or discount points, I should say, then those are basically paid at closing as well, and those are part of your closing costs. So that's kind of a breakdown of closing costs. So the closing costs are going to be due at closing, and they have to be paid prior to that transfer of title. So that home ownership transfer isn't complete until all documents are signed and also all closing costs are paid. Now you may say, well, there's a lot of closing costs involved in there. Are these closing costs negotiable? And just like I said before, when you do the home inspection, you may have some leverage to negotiate with the seller to pay some of the repairs or pay some of the closing costs. And they call that a seller concession, which we will discuss in another video. And then you can also speak to the lender. And when you speak to the lender, you can just ask them, just be straight up and say, hey, are some of the, can we reduce some of these fees? Can these fees be negotiated? And the lender will let you know which fees may be negotiated and which ones are basically there and can't be negotiated. It is what it is, and it can be negotiated. So this is something to keep in mind. So, well, I want to thank everyone for joining. I do appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, any questions, any problems, or any questions or concerns while you're going through the home buying process, just hit me up. I'm a loan officer. I am licensed in the state of Texas and Louisiana. You can hit me up at mgates@happyhomelending.com. And then I can go through any questions that you may have. If I can't find the answer, if I don't know it, then I can find the answer for you. That's what I'm here for. I think my new thing now is to educate home buyers. So I'm going to try to educate home buyers while they go through the home buying process to make sure that they feel that the home buyers feel a little bit more comfortable when they're speaking to the real estate agent or they're speaking to the lender. All these terms are coming up. They basically have a better understanding of what's being stated. The previous show we talked about debt to income, and now we're talking about closing costs. So hopefully you're more familiar with the home buying process, and then in future videos as we go through, we may touch back, and then and that's it. And if there's any realtors that are looking for a lending partner, or if they're looking for a lending partner, or if you have any questions about lending in the state of Texas or Louisiana, if you have any lender questions, just hit me up and I'll be more than happy to answer that. So thank everyone for joining. I really do appreciate it. And everyone enjoy the rest of your evening. All right. Thank you for joining. Bye.